evening, namaskar, adab. For a change, I've moved back from Khan Market to our television studios. And the reason why I've come back to the television studios away from the streets where I see you on a daily basis is because I want to look at some factors, some mathematical factors, some psychological factors very closely to try and make you understand exactly why Delhi voted the way they voted for this man. Arvind Kejriwal, who's blowing away kisses and saying, Delhi, I love you, and oh God, Delhi, what all you have done. Behind all this charm, which is being shown by Mr. Kejriwal, there is some very well crafted and very well thought of political strategies. Over the next 1 hour, country's leading pollsters, analysts will be live with us here in our studios as we explain to you exactly what is the reason that the Aam Aadmi Party managed to come back to power in this way from the high of 2015 to a consistent high of 2020. And as you move forward, can this high which has been achieved by the Aam Aadmi Party, can it really hold on to this high? Imagine the scenario. The Aam Aadmi Party lost the municipal polls of 2017. Imagine a scenario where the Aam Aadmi Party draws a blank in 2019, comes third behind the Bharatiya Janata Party and Congress. But now, just look at the scenario, over 500 candidates in this Delhi election, including 63 of the Congress, have ended up losing their deposits. That is the scale of this victory. Now, this scale is not possible just because Mr. Kejriwal was promising free electricity or just because, well, he was perceived to be someone who was a delivery-oriented man. This result is possible only and only when you mix your delivery with some cleverly positioned political ploys. So what were those ploys? That's what we want to look at, and that's why we're here in the studios. Let's look at two of these interesting trends this time around, which will explain to you why Mr. Kejriwal has managed to come up with the numbers that he has got. Pollsters have been analyzing, over-analyzing, some feel, but there are some straightforward strands of thought which we get. Now, this is what we're getting courtesy Lokniti CSDS survey, which has announced its post-poll results today. What was the question? What decided Delhi government vote? 60% on governance issues. It is what is being found. 19%. So 60% on government issues and governance issues, but 19% on price rise and unemployment. 7% people, and this is important, only 7% according to this poll, crystallized their thoughts of who to vote for on the basis of Ram Mandir, Citizenship Amendment Act or the NRC. And then 14% decided to look at, well, various other issues, which basically means that this would be the category which would not necessarily be in love with any of these parties. But then look at the next big factor, the next big point. And to my mind, it is this point which needs to be looked at very, very closely, because somewhere the entire strategy which has been worked out by the Aam Aadmi Party flows from this point, from those who were believers in the Citizenship Amendment Act. Who all voted for the Aam Aadmi Party? 46% of those voters who were supporting the Citizenship Amendment Act fully were backing the Aam Aadmi Party. 34% of Aam Aadmi Party supporters, the support that the Aam Aadmi Party got, 34% of CAA backers voted for the Aam Aadmi Party. 76% of CAA opposers, those who were completely opposed, were backing the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, what this tells you, and we'll try and break this down in course of our programming, that when you look at this question through the prism of fully backing CAA and somewhat backing CAA, in the context of those who are fully backing CAA, the majority is with the BJP. But when the question is somewhat backing CAA, the majority is with the Aam Aadmi Party. That is where the ambivalent stand which was adopted by Mr. Kejriwal, not going to Shaheen Bagh, Manish Sisodia saying we stand with Shaheen Bagh, then suddenly Lord Bajrangbali comes in. That's where the Aam Aadmi Party is really drawing its strength from. It's not just one on the basis of governance or deliverance issues. Governance or delivery mechanism may have made the Aam Aadmi Party into an attractive package, but it's only the ability of Mr. Kejriwal to convince the hardcore Hindu right-wing voter of Prime Minister Modi that he is not really completely opposed to what the BJP stands for is what is making Mr. Kejriwal blow these air kisses. Let's raise the big blunt questioner on the show and welcome all our guests. Did overemphasis on the Citizenship Amendment Act, ultimately end up boomeranging for the BJP? We'll look at various questions in course of the program, which are all which are all coming in from CSDS surveys as well as various other surveys which have been done. Sanjay Kumar, Director CSDS, is live with us. He's joining us live, and Rashid Kidwai, our fellow election traveller who was with us all through our election coverage, is there with us. Rashid, first to you. I'm rather intrigued by this finding of the CSDS poll, where it finds out that amongst those who are somewhat supporting, which means not fully convinced of the Citizenship Amendment Act, when you are in that category of somewhat supporting the Citizenship Amendment Act, the majority appears to be with the Aam Aadmi Party. What does this tell you? Is this the reason why Mr. Kejriwal did not go to Shaheen Bagh? And is this the reason where references to Lord Bajrangbali have suddenly come in? Rashid?
Bhupen, if you look at carefully, this is not surprising. What was the relevance of pro-CAA or anti-CAA plank in Delhi election? Law and order is not a state subject. If it was a Lok Sabha election, then understandably the majority of people who are supporting CAA would have certainly voted for the BJP because it was a matter of national resolve and national interest. But in Delhi assembly election, this was one of the side issues. The problem with BJP was that BJP thought they've got a real, a kind of, plank that would motivate each and every voter on the basis of their faith and their own standing, astha, whatever you want to call it, to vote. But politics and society is far more complex. So people look at things in package, and here they saw here is a man who was, there is a trust level, there is a trust factor with him, and he is also, he voted for, 370 in Parliament, or whatever numbers Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has in Parliament. So it helped because, people did not see him, and he has got no baggage, unlike the Congress.
No, but I'm on the very specific point. Rashid, we've looked at whatever economic model that was working for the Aam Aadmi Party closely, but I'm on the specific point on the Citizenship Amendment Act. Well, here with us, Dhananjay Joshi, the Managing Director of Cicero, and someone who also did a poll and got it bang on this time around. Well, congratulations to you as well. Sachin Taparia is Local Circles Chairman and CEO. And Sachin has been looking at this question of what is working for the Aam Aadmi Party very closely to its policy issues of the last 12 months. And our very own Sanjay Singhji, like me, travels across the length and breadth of the country and keeps a good eagle eye on all the developments that happen. Sanjay Kumar of CSDS will be live with us too. But let me begin with you, Dhananjay. Specifically, when I raise this question, when I look at this question, that out of those who fully support CAA, look at this, those who fully support CAA, 64% back the BJP and only 34% back the Aam Aadmi Party. But when the question is somewhat support, 62% was the Aam Aadmi Party and 34% is with the BJP. Does this in some ways explain to us the moves which are being made by Mr. Kejriwal this election season?
All through this election season, he never let the issues of the election come to issues such as CAA, Shaheen Bagh. The BJP kept trying to change the pitch and get it to these issues. But he did not let that happen. And on the other hand, did not take a very clear position on these issues. As the result day came in, we saw the Hanuman Chalisa being tweeted and then boosted on social media, and then the whole poster of.
So let me put it this way. Can I put it this way? I've got it from some sources within the Aam Aadmi Party that there is a feeling that Mr. Sisodia was given this run for his money, and the reason why seats around Mr. Sisodia's constituency, which are all dominated by Uttarakhandis, ended up going to the BJP is because of that one comment that was made by Manish Sisodia that we stand with Shaheen Bagh. Now I'm trying to understand that let's take all the freebies. Let's take all the governance issues on one side.
Right.
And what if Mr. Kejriwal had gone to Shaheen Bagh actually? What if Mr. Kejriwal had taken a straightforward position on Shaheen Bagh? Do you think this result would have been very different that we saw?
Well, it's a hypothesis, but then maybe he would have been on the receiving end of the Hindu-Muslim polarization, which he did not let happen in this election. So we see a clear class divide. And in that class divide, even our poll indicates that amongst the elite, the gap between the AAP and the BJP is in favor of AAP by about 8 to 9 points. It, of course, amongst working classes goes to 20 points in favor of the AAP. But Hindu-Muslim is not a variable that really played in this election. Had he
but then what explains? No, but then what explains if Hindu-Muslim is not a variable? Then what explains what you yourself just saying, that amongst the elite, the gap between the AAP and the BJP is 8 to 9%, But amongst the poorest of the poor section, that gap increases to 20%.
Yeah, because it was the I won't say freebies, but it was the economic
let's say
agenda,
delivery. Let's say delivery.
Governance. We want to add freebies. These are the agendas on which this election took place. Hindu-Muslim polarization, Shaheen Bagh, Goli Mardo, etc., did not really work. After the shootout in Shaheen Bagh, even after that, when polarization did not take place, that means that this wasn't a variable which was working. And Arvind did not very aggressively attack the shooters and did not criticize anything. He did just, in a way, avoided these issues. And that worked to his benefit, because the soft Hindutva voter or the very neutral voter who is confused between, whether to take a clear position or not, which is signified by that somewhat support category.
Sanjay ji, I'm just looking at this tweet which was put up by Amit Malviya, and look at what he says. Look at what he says. He says that everyone is gloating over Arvind Kejriwal's win. He says everyone who's gloating over Arvind Kejriwal's win is missing the fact that in his own victory margin, it had shrunk. The victory margin has shrunk by 10,000 votes as compared to 2015. Kejriwal defeated Sheila Dikshit with a margin of 25,000 votes, but this time he won by a margin lower than that, and we all know what happened to Manish Sisodia. Is there any trend here? Do you really, for every time when pollsters say that actually Shaheen Bagh was not a factor, are we missing something here? Was Shaheen Bagh really a factor, but maybe didn't play out to that degree? What explains the BJP's growth from 32% to 40% and 38%?
First, I think Amit Malviya is uncharitable to
being
Arvind Kejriwal.
Right.
Precisely. In last elections, AAP still was a movement, and Kejriwal had worked door to door, reaching out to every household. Perhaps also because BJP in fact delayed that election from 2013 end to February 2015, and that given him a chance, and volunteers from all across country had come in. 1% dip, less than 1% or around 1% dip, and around same numbers, 90% of his MLAs, candidates going to assembly. That's a huge achievement, no denying that fact. The other question that you are asking about Shaheen Bagh did kind of added to traction to BJP.
It did.
There is no denying
to say that it didn't work would be...
The problem, Bhupen, the problem starts when you make a very aggressive pitch on Shaheen Bagh and your cadre and supporters are energized. Amit Shah, of course, leading the charge. He going to every kind of municipal ward and so on and so forth. Lower down the rung, tier 2, tier 3 of your leaders start thinking that this is the plank, and they go on shooting their mouth. Goli Maro, you know that.
And that's where the story.
Otherwise, is a very.
And that's where the story unfolds. Precisely. That's where the story ends up being derailed.
Then comes Parvez Verma, then comes Manoj Tiwari, and then the neutral voters start disliking it. And also people who are otherwise supportive to the BJP, some of them start disliking it. So your number goes up from 32, 34%.
But Sachin, again, I'm still staying with that number, because to my mind, it really tells you a fascinating story. And Sanjay Kumar there of CSDS as well. So let me just get a word from him, Sachin, and I'll get you. Sanjay ji, if you can hear me clearly, I'm trying to understand, Sanjay ji. In course of the findings that you have published today in the Indian Express, the specific figures that I'm looking at is amongst the polarized opinion on the CAA NRC. Has it worked in AAP's favor or not? Now you say fully support CAA. Those who fully support CAA, 64% are with the BJP, 34% are with the Aam Aadmi Party. But when the story somewhat supports CAA, then the majority is with the Aam Aadmi Party. And then when the question is completely opposed to CAA, again the majority is with the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, does that tell me that Mr. Kejriwal is in a rather interesting vortex? He's created a matrix for himself where being ambivalent turns out to be his biggest strength. Is that the way to understand your findings, Sanjay ji?
Absolutely. I'm sure if Kejriwal had taken an open stand and if he had opposed CA and Shaheen Bagh, I think the vote which Aam Aadmi Party has got 54%, 53% vote, they would never have got that vote. He needed to take a neutral stand. He needed not to be seen as opposing CA or opposing Shaheen Bagh. So that is why he took a neutral stand. And you have mentioned the data, you have read the data very carefully. That if you look at the proportion of people who are in support of CA and their vote, all those people who are in support of CA actually voted for BJP in a very large number. BJP is getting about 38-39% vote.
Right.
But among those who strongly support CAA, they're getting more than 60% vote. It's a very massive support for BJP among those who supported CAA and those who were opposed to what was happening in Shaheen Bagh.
So if I put this question this way, Sanjay ji, that the BJP's argument that if you're a supporter of CAA or if you're a supporter of NRC, then the probability of you being a BJP voter, is that being tested from the kind of strategy which has been worked out by Arvind Kejriwal, where he remains ambivalent? He'll use Bajrang Bali, he'll use some other symbolism, and he'll keep attracting those individuals. Do you think that wasn't this a competition between the ambivalence of Mr. Kejriwal and a very clear-cut assertion which was being done by the BJP?
No, absolutely it was. If I don't want to say it was a competition, but I think it was a test. BJP actually used this as a test. That let's play out Hindutva in a most aggressive form. And let's see whether people are going to support BJP or not. And there's the test, they have passed clearly in that test. Otherwise, BJP's vote share, 7% increase in vote share would not have been there if BJP had not played this aggressive Hindutva card of support in favor of CAA and opposing very vehemently what is happening in Shaheen Bagh and trying to relate it to the international activities. I don't think BJP would have managed to get the kind of votes they have managed to get.
And let me counter that.
But Sanjay ji, votes have been polarized.
Yeah, and Sanjay ji, but let me put this way, sir. Let me put this way. Do you think this election would have changed? Because look at what happened to Manish Sisodia. He barely won. And look at seats around Manish Sisodia's own constituency, which I am told all got impacted because of that one comment that was made by Manish Sisodia. So if Mr. Kejriwal, let's say, had dared to go to Shaheen Bagh, since he happens to be the Delhi Chief Minister, do you think we could have actually looked at numbers very, very differently? Would this picture have been completely different?
Absolutely, Bhupendra. I have no doubt if Kejriwal had ever visited Shaheen Bagh or he had given any sympathetic statement towards Shaheen Bagh, that, oh, what is happening is people are suffering in Shaheen Bagh. I'm sure the result would have been very, very different. There were sections of people who were ambivalent. They wanted to support Aam Aadmi Party. They actually voted for Aam Aadmi Party. But they didn't like what was happening in Shaheen Bagh.
But then, Dhananjay, this is rather interesting. Now, if Kejriwal would have gone to Shaheen Bagh, that's why I was asking you, if he had gone to Shaheen Bagh, so on one hand, there is his delivery mechanism, free electricity, free travel, free this. If he goes to Shaheen Bagh, would that have been such a strong signal that all these so-called positive messages would have gone drowned out, Dhananjay?
No, then the pitch would have changed. I think
that's one more, Sanjay. Let me hear Dhananjay and I'll come back to you.
I think what Sanjay ji is saying and what I've been trying to say is that then the pitch would have changed. Here, Arvind Kejriwal avoided these issues. He did not support people sitting in
ambivalence, I get that, I get that. But I'm saying if he had, because see, there is a reason why I'm asking this question. You can be confused or you can ask people to stay in a state of ambivalence for some time. But you can't expect people to remain in the state of ambivalence forever.
Well, I'll give you an analogy after what I say. For the last 5 or 6 years especially, we've been seeing that Hindu-Muslim polarization in state elections and national elections has been a major variable. So, looking at that trend, we can assume that if Arvind Kejriwal would have very aggressively gone and supported Shaheen Bagh protests or opposed CAA, that variable could have been triggered. That is one. But what Kejriwal is trying to do, or the kind of politics that AAP is trying to do, is classic old school Congress style politics. I have the Tika, I have the Janehu, but I will be, secular. I will never, I will also have an iftar party, but have a separate table.
That's the second part. That's the second part. That's the second part of my question. But Sachin, just to hear you, Sachin, through the year, you have been carrying out polls after polls.
Through the last 4 years.
Through the last 4 years. But I'm saying specifically in the context of Delhi's preferences, and you've come up with all kinds of conclusions which we've often looked at on Viewpoint. Do you buy this theory that I'm trying to make some sense of? That's one single act of Mr. Kejriwal going to Shaheen Bagh would have been so strong that the same people who are all going gaga over his delivery model, over this free electricity and whatnot, would have got so irritated with him that they would have not voted for him?
It could have made some impact, Bhupendra, but based on, we've been doing this survey for the last 4 years, and the issue, we don't look at political polls, we go bottoms up. How is water been? How is electricity been? How is, school education? How is health? We've been seeing consistently that the ratings, and our survey started, at the beginning of January and concluded about 20th of January. So Shaheen Bagh was kind of developing during that time. The voter was basically very happy with work that had been done in the last 5 years in each one of these areas. And our approval rating was about 49% people gave him a thumbs up.
In November?
In January.
In January.
In January, on the works that have been done in these different areas.
But what were they saying about? Because by then, Jamia had happened, JNU had happened.
It didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
Did
And
not
Shaheen Bagh
matter.
was just building up.
It was building up. I think what he did was he did the smart thing of not engaging with it. And, you know, while Shaheen Bagh may have helped BJP, you know, get more votes.
Why did the BJP get 6% more, Sanjay? Can you throw some... Where has this vote come from?
See, BJP pitch was very aggressive.
Fair
in
enough.
Parliamentary election, they were about 56%.
No, did they benefit?
They
Let's
actually
see.
benefited.
Lok Sabha was Modi. Lok Sabha was Modi, different election.
Precisely.
Assembly from 32 to 38, where has this vote come from?
This, again, I attribute to Shaheen Bagh.
So purely Shaheen Bagh vote,
yes, I agree with Dhananjay and also with Sanjay on this particular count. If he had gone there, I ask a reverse question. He had gone to JNU and he had asked question about surgical strike.
Right.
What had happened then? His popularity rating had gone down. This time he chose to be like that, and also on subsequently when he was on other receiving end, when BJP was going on a higher pitch, he came out with Hanuman Chalisa.
So he became a modern day Congress. As Dhananjay gives us a good example. Rashid, is that something you go by? Here is the Congress party which is struggling to find some formula, and we look at that on the other side of the break. But is the Aam Aadmi Party really attempting to flirt with some old-style Congress politics?
I think, Bhupen, neither you nor me, we are not psephologists, so we can't back these things with numbers. But the fact of the matter is, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party was distinctively anti-BJP. There are no two views about it. There was a, there is a silent communication that takes place between a leader or political party and voters. And Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has been a beneficiary of that.
No, can I tell
what
you?
Was he saying?
You know, former supporter of Mr. Kejriwal, Ashutosh, who is now gone back to doing journalism, Ashutosh has tweeted and he says the only difference between BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party is that both sides are equally Hindu. It's just that so far Aam Aadmi Party is Hindu minus hatred for Muslims. That's the only difference. Otherwise, there's no difference.
That's old school Congress style.
That's old school Congress style. Then how do you then argue that it's not?
At ground level, you see... At ground level, if you see in Delhi, that is a sentiment, because people may be having, practicing various faith and having various ideology, including support to BJP. But Indian Muslim, for the first time, that is what I'm saying. Earlier, all other elections, that Pakistan was an issue. But for the first time, a section of, and it's not only Muslims alone, JNU, Jamia, all these institutions, youth, they were targeted. I don't think, people of Delhi were so convinced about this Tukde gang kind of narrative.
They were not convinced.
And
okay.
Mr. Kejriwal, and again, they could sense that.
No, if they could sense that, Sanjay Kumar, how does this then play out then, sir? How does this play out in the long run? Do you really think it's possible for a political party, and again, I'm only going back to the number which has caught my attention today. Look at what happens, Sanjay ji. When you are in this figure of somewhat support CAA, 62% with the Aam Aadmi Party, 34% with the BJP. On the other side, when you are somewhat supporting NRC, 56% again with the Aam Aadmi Party, and again minority with the BJP. If you are fully opposed to NRC, if you are fully opposed to CAA, you are completely with the Aam Aadmi Party. When you are somewhat opposed to NRC, when you are somewhat supportive of NRC or somewhat supportive of CAA, again the Aam Aadmi Party is ahead. What kind of politics do you think is Arvind Kejriwal trying to play? Do I read this as some old style Congress politics, thoda idhar, thoda udhar? Is that the way to read the situation, Sanjay?
In the long run, I don't know what kind of politics Arvind Kejriwal is going to play, but I think he wanted to play safe at least in this election. He didn't want to do anything which would by which he would be seen as someone who is opposed to Hindu, and that is why when somebody asked him, "Are you a Hindu? Do you visit Hanuman temple? Can you chant Hanuman Chalisa?" And he did that. So he wanted to escape from the tag which would have got stuck with him. That if you go to Shaheen Bagh, he would be seen as someone who is more a sympathizer of the Muslims rather than sympathizer of the Hindu cause. Okay. And that is why this whole tactics during the campaign. And your earlier question of if he had gone to Shaheen Bagh, the result would have been different. See, what would have happened? you only needed 4 or 5%. BJP only needed 4 or 5% vote to shift from Aam Aadmi Party,
Right.
and they would have shifted to BJP. So 4% or 5% loss from Aam Aadmi Party would have brought Aam Aadmi Party to about 48. And this 4% gets added to BJP, BJP goes to 44, and then it would have made a huge difference. The seats could have been...
And
very,
Sanjay ji,
very
how
big.
very, just look at what Amit Shah is saying. So, you know, and this is what Sanjay is saying here. Sanjay ji, look at what Amit Shah is saying. His first statement on the Delhi election, he's saying very clearly that this is not a mandate on CAA and NRC. This is that we believe. So maybe the findings of this post poll, which has been done, this exercise which is done by Sanjay Kumar, is being accepted by him as well. He says my assessment on Delhi elections went wrong, but it's not as if these results are a mandate on CAA or NRC. Does this tell you then, Sanjay ji, there's this insistence on hard, strident Hindutva, strident ideological positioning? This is going to continue for the BJP.
Yeah, Amit Shah is right. This is no way any referendum on NRC or NPA or...
Because majority, as Sanjay Kumar's poll points out, majority of supporters of CAA and NRC, fully supporters, are still with the BJP.
Bhupen, you gave answer yourself when you put out this question, why did Manish Sisodia lose or win only from 2000 something margin?
Because I was wondering, you know, here is someone who takes
gives the
this mantle, he takes this mantle of this being a reform-oriented person and education king and whatnot. And he's given a good run for his money. By whom? By two people who are completely unknown entities. And then I did some more data crunching and I saw that in seats around Manish Sisodia's area, the reason why the BJP ended up benefiting is because a lot of that is Uttarakhandi community in those parts. So maybe this attempt that was made to hard sell Manish Sisodia's support for Shaheen Bagh only ended up boomeranging against the
Precisely.
Aam Aadmi
Who
Party.
is Aam Aadmi Party's number 2, declared number 2. People accept him as their leader after Arvind Kejriwal. That is reflective of that situation. BJP, on the other hand, this time around, say for instance, the 2 digital advertisement that the theme songs that they put out, also never challenged those 2 songs. They were very, very strident, kind of nationalistic, I would say, Hindu nationalist song, whereby they are saying that was too explicit in
explicit in nature. Okay, let's take I'm hoping that these kind of statements are not made on electoral campaigns. And I tweeted about this in the past as well. Elections come and go, verdicts come out, but then the damage which gets inflicted on the fabric of a society, that damage stays for a very, very long time. Is some action going to be taken against Anurag Thakur? Will Kapil Mishra be removed from the party? I guess if the BJP is really serious about what it's stating now, then it should back it up with these kind of actions. But there is some action, some impact of what has happened in this Delhi election. And that impact is being felt on the Congress party. Now, here is the grand old party was in power in the national capital for 3 consecutive terms for 15 years. And look at what's happened to the Delhi Congress now. The party has lost its deposits in 63 of the 70 assembly constituencies. Full-on blame game now on in the party in terms of what to make out of this. Latest leader to speak out is Jairam Ramesh. Mr. Ramesh is now calling this Delhi verdict a result of arrogance. Jairam Ramesh says that the substance and style of the Congress, it has to change. And if the party has to stay relevant, it needs to figure out exactly what it stands for. The statement comes even as there are indications that Rahul Gandhi may well be returning to the helm of affairs within the BJP, within the Congress party in a very short span of time. That's where the Congress party is standing. So let's look at the other part of this entire Delhi election result. The second blunt question is this: can Aam Aadmi Party, can Mr. Kejriwal really fill in the gap of the opposition if the Congress party nationally continues to collapse the manner in which it is collapsing? Rashid Kidwai, in your opinion and in your experience of covering the Congress party, Dhananjay was saying a short while back that the Aam Aadmi Party is doing exactly the kind of politics which was good old style Congress politics. Can Mr. Kejriwal fill into those shoes according to you?
Mr. Kejriwal is successful because he has, ears to the ground, roots in society. Unfortunately, Congress is lacking that. Arvind Kejriwal is essentially an urban phenomena. He represents hope, aspiration. All these things make him a very attractive proposition. But to your question that can he replace Congress, I think that is going to be a very tall order, because we do not know what AAP stands for in complex, issues of, rural India and many parts of the country. So it is quite a minefield. But if he stays on to where he is, I think, and other regional parties support him for whatever reasons, he has a chance. The Congress story, Bhupen, if you allow me, see, it's a little complex. See, Mr. Jairam Ramesh has been convener of all that party strategy in 2014 and 19. It's very actually rich of him to be saying these things, and there is always a forum. They can always force,
Yeah, but I'm not getting into the Congress politics today. I'm not getting into Congress politics today. I'm trying to understand it slightly differently, and that's the focus of my question. That can the Aam Aadmi Party do what the Congress Party has failed to do, and what the Congress Party managed to do for a very long period of time? Sanjay ji, where do you stand, Sanjay ji, on this question then? I mean, look at the Congress Party. There were these great leaders like A.R. Antole on one side, Digvijay Singh on the other, Sharad Pawar. All these leaders, of course, went their own way over a period of time. But where the Congress Party is today, is Mr. Kejriwal not attempting to do exactly that? Someone like an Amanatullah Khan is also a part of the Aam Aadmi Party, and he wins by over 80,000 votes. But Mr. Kejriwal himself will scream Jai Bajrang Bali from rooftops. He'll also win his election. Is that not what the Congress Party stood for at one point of time?
So I think Aam Aadmi Party would be making a mistake if they think that they would expand very quickly and they would be in a position to replace Congress in many states. I don't think Aam Aadmi Party has any stakes besides Delhi. So if you look at Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, maybe say a little bit of Haryana, Himachal, Uttarakhand, these are the states where Aam Aadmi Party will find it extremely difficult to replace Congress. Congress still has deep roots in these states. In 3 of these states, Congress
But if the leadership crisis continues, Sanjay ji, if the leadership crisis within the Congress continues, and if Rahul Gandhi willy-nilly, and God save the Congress Party, and I say this clearly, if Rahul Gandhi ends up becoming the president of the Congress Party again, Sanjay ji, don't you think, while it will help Prime Minister Modi in his next electoral battle, it will certainly open up an opportunity for the Aam Aadmi Party also, no?
Yeah. So it opens up an opportunity for Aam Aadmi Party to expand. So Rahul Gandhi continuing as the party president or becoming the party president again actually does not help the Congress to make its root deep into among the people. And all the states where Congress has been ruling, Congress might start facing difficult situation in these states. But I think still Aam Aadmi Party will take a very long time to make deep inroads in these states. Look at the states which is going to poll this year and the next year. Bihar, I don't think Aam Aadmi Party has would find it easy to make inroads.
But Sachin, then, look at it. Let's look at it, Sachin, then from a delivery point of view. Right. All your polls have found that Aam Aadmi Party's approval ratings on the delivery front very high. In fact, one figure that I came across today, and I think it was CSDA survey only, which was pointing out that the Aam Aadmi Party's approval ratings as Chief Minister for Mr. Kejriwal is the highest ever in the history of independent India, right? Highest ever. Now, if it is the highest ever in the history of independent India, please tell me then, Sachin, if you're in Uttarakhand, all these states that Sanjay ji was talking about, if you're in Haryana, if you're in Punjab, where people have tested all sides, Akali Dal, Congress, Uttarakhand Kranti Dal, I mean, all states you look at, everyone and everything has been tested. Here comes a man whose approval ratings are so high on delivery front. Is it not possible for this politician to fill into these gaps which have been created by the Congress Party?
So I think, Bhupendra, the difference here is that, Delhi is a very aspirational society. We all who live in Delhi, we struggle with the issues of daily life, which is, all the urban issues.
But we live in Delhi.
Law and order,
we all want to move forward.
Traffic, all these issues, that we face. And I think that is why, development politics has actually worked for Mr. Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi.
But if it can work here...
You go to Uttarakhand, right? The voting is not as much
on
development issues and aspirations.
It's caste.
It is caste, it is other issues, a variety of issues. And therefore, I think to replicate this model in other larger states or even smaller states...
No, but let me really focus this argument. Let me really narrow it down, and let me narrow it down to one person, Rahul Gandhi. Now, Sanjay ji, we all know Rahul Gandhi, I say, is a damaged brand. Rahul Gandhi has been tried, tested, he has failed on multiple occasions. If the Congress Party ends up making the mistake of bringing him back, if he's back at the helm of affairs, don't you think that there will be there will be some kind of a gap which will be created, that who is the person who is best suited, A, to satisfy the aspirations of a rapidly evolving society, much like what Aam Aadmi Party has done in Delhi, and B, if Mr. Kejriwal can live with this ambivalence, as he has shown, between Shaheen Bagh and say between Chandni Chowk and Shadra and Seelampur and you know, aspirational society versus a rich society, do you think that he will have the best shot in terms of managing this confusion, so to say, between hope, aspiration and caste politics?
To begin with, I should not talk about Rahul Gandhi because people already have made their conclusion. So I'll not go into that.
Yeah, that's why I'm not even looking at it from Congress's internal political mechanism.
Precisely. So coming on to Kejriwal, see, complexity of Delhi and other states are completely entirely different. Right. Kejriwal has not been tested on those grounds. We don't know what kind of a situation he
What if Harish Rawat tomorrow, let me put it this way, all these leaders of the Congress party who are saying, you know, from Jairam Ramesh to Sharmishta Mukherjee, everyone, they're all saying, oh, we need a new template, we need a new template. What if, let's say, senior leaders like Harish Rawat, former chief minister in Uttarakhand, what if Mr. Rawat comes up tomorrow and says, Mr. Kejriwal has done exceptionally well, people of Uttarakhand are voting for him in Delhi, my support is for him in Uttarakhand. Do you think it will change things?
That's not possible.
Not possible.
Hypothetically also, that's not possible. B, Kejriwal delivery in Delhi has been mostly on freebies. If you minus that, Delhi, when Kejriwal took over in 2013, 2014,
so he promised freebies in Uttarakhand. He promised free electricity, free water, free train travel.
It's not possible for a state like Bihar or UP or Maharashtra to give this kind of benefit to this number of people in terms of percentage.
But Dhananjay,
and look at the situation when Kejriwal took over charge in 2014 of Delhi. Delhi already had the kind of infrastructure that you see today.
You know, I'm still not convinced with the argument being made, because look at Bihar, for instance. Okay. Rashid, yeah, come in, Rashid. You want to make a point? Then I'll get Dhananjay.
I think, Mr. Kejriwal would fashion himself in something like VP Singh mold of 1987 onwards. He will be a campaigner. It's a matter of time before, you know, maybe after Bengal election.
Yeah,
like
sure.
He will become some kind of convener or some.
Well, I'm telling you one thing clearly. The Aam Aadmi Party, Rashid bhai, let me say this clearly. The Aam Aadmi Party has decided. The Aam Aadmi Party has made up its mind. They are going to expand beyond Delhi. They are going to contest elections. How many elections, how many states, that's something which is still work in progress. But whether it is municipal elections, whether it is Zilla Panchayat elections, whether it is assembly elections, by-elections, Aam Aadmi Party has decided. In 2015, we didn't have the experience. Between 2015 and 20, they have tasted enough failures. Now they've tasted this big success. They say this is the best time for us. We're going to go all out. So that question is settled. They are going all out. Now I'm trying to wonder, if they are going all out, whose space are they going to take? That's the question, Rashid.
There is a space, because mind you, many regional parties would not want to shift base to Delhi, Stalin, Mamata Banerjee, or many of them have, you know, problem. They don't understand Delhi. And that's where Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is, you know, age is on his side, his urban profile, all these things are there. What he needs is a support from many regional parties, basically Congress outfits. And once it becomes, you know, when he starts getting traction, whether it's, because how many people can challenge Mr. Narendra Modi, whether it comes to oratory skill, the statistics, or
Sanjay Kumar, specifically in the context of delivery models, Sanjay, specifically in the context of delivery models, I hear a lot that the entire country is looking at this Aam Aadmi Party model. Sanjay ji, do you think this delivery, this freebie model, etc., will it work? Say if you were in a BMC election or in a Bangalore Municipal Corporation election?
No, very difficult. That you have taken two examples. In these two examples, it might work. But if you compare it with states like Bihar, UP, West Bengal, I take an example to explain. If there is a glass and if you drop one coin, the noise is very loud. But if you want to drop even 10 coins in a big bucket, the noise you won't be able to even hear the noise. That's the difficulty. So if you engage in the politics of freebies, or if you do good amount of work, it is, and in a city like Delhi, it was known, it was seen, it was felt. But the same kind of a work, if the government does in a state like UP, West Bengal, Bihar, a big state, or even the double of that work, it won't get as noticed as it was.
But Dhananjay, my final question then. The state of opposition, Dhananjay. In Bihar, where is the opposition? Tejasvi Yadav, much like Arvind Kejriwal, who was, for the Lok Sabha elections, he was looking at great hopes, and look at where he is today. Right? Look at Uttarakhand, the state that Sachin was talking about. Where is the opposition? Look at Karnataka, for instance. You know, there was Siddaramaiah. Well, they had the Congress party ended up coming number 2, then number 2, number 3 had to come together. If the state of opposition plays where it is, and if Rahul Gandhi then ends up becoming the president of the Congress party again, would you buy this theory that actually Arvind Kejriwal would be the best person to have a maybe not 5 years, maybe 7-year roadmap? If he has a 7-year roadmap, can he make a mark for himself nationally?
Look, first, briefly about this opposition space, I really think that the Congress will go downhill nationally, and that's because of a number of crises internally. Rahul Gandhi is just one of the variables in it. Now, there is this space which is going to grow. The anti-BJP space, the anti-right space is going to grow. Now, Arvind Kejriwal is, of course, one of the front runners, one of the big names after yesterday's success. There are other names. There are energies within the Congress who are going to probably break away, reconfigure, change.
But if Rahul Gandhi stays as if Rahul Gandhi in the month of April becomes a Congress president, do you think Mr. Kejriwal in many ways will end up becoming the biggest beneficiary in the opposition space?
Well, I think it's anyway a front runner. Anybody who sees politics seriously, but at the same time, AAP is an urban phenomena. Mr. Kejriwal is a very, very, one-man army.
Well, I just want to say this. I'm reminded of a statistic way back in 2009 Lok Sabha elections. People forget about this, and that's why sometimes numbers, end up being handy. In 2009, Manmohan Singh ended up getting 207 Lok Sabha seats. Why? Because 90% of urban India, 97 Lok Sabha seats dominated by urban constituencies had all gone towards the Congress party. Now, if the Aam Aadmi party...
Bhupendra. Rahul Gandhi was a star then.
Well, Rahul Gandhi for the Congress was a star. But then people perhaps gave him undue credit. Maybe that's also the tragedy of the Congress party, that maybe it was a victory of Manmohan Singh, it was attributed to be a victory of Rahul Gandhi. But if Aam Aadmi party is an urban phenomenon, then do bear in mind, in 2009, 97 Lok Sabha seats, urban population dominated, all voted for the Congress party. In 2014, one of the biggest factors why Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister with such huge majority is again because that urban constituency simply shifted in favor of the BJP. Does Mr. Kejriwal have it in him to really challenge the big national players? Well, the jury's certainly out on that one. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this rather exciting and informative session of Viewpoint. On the other side of this short break, Sunita Kejriwal, the wife of Arvind Kejriwal, who was just celebrating her birthday the other day, she's in conversation with Sahil Mignani about what is the kind of political role that she can play. A Priyanka Gandhi for Rahul Gandhi or a Sonia Gandhi for Rahul Gandhi, not working. Sunita Kejriwal plus Arvind Kejriwal, can that work? Look at that on the other side of the short break.